Bum bum ba-da-dum ba-da-dum. Bum ba-da-dum 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 ba-da-dum.
Well, hello everybody. We've come back for another week of Game Rushmore.
Back in time.
Yes.
We've come back in time, which is the phrase.
Yes. Well,
This
I
is
mean,
the present. It's a point in time.
when people are listening to this, our voices will be from the past.
It's true.
That's true.
We are time traveling very slowly
yes.
forward in time.
So if I was living, which I am, and I had a time machine,
If you were,
I would go back into the past, but then the past would become the present for me, and the future would be the past. Whoa. That's crazy. My mind is blown.
and then you would implode.
That seems pretty normal. That doesn't
Think
seem that
about it.
crazy. No.
well, it's just... Anywho.
I saw the Thor movie. It was good.
Okay.
All right.
I saw Blade of the Immortal. I liked it.
Yes, by director Miike.
Brandon, your turn.
Blood of the Immortal.
Blade of the Immortal.
Blade of the Immortal.
Yeah. It was a Japanese comic book. Got made into a movie. And
okay.
actually released in America. Only in one theater. Shown 4 times a day.
Wow.
It is a theater where one of the ceiling speakers is broken or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very quality.
It's a poor service.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that bad. I mean, in a Japanese movie, it's especially pronounced because there are periods of silence, and that's important. But
Yeah.
so every once in a while, it just sounded kind of like a rumbling of thunder in the background.
American movies do not know what period of silence is.
No.
I had a period of silence in one of the games I was playing.
Yeah?
Yeah. Shadow of War.
Oh, period of silence.
Mhm.
I guess that means Brandon wants to talk about Shadow of War.
Not necessarily, but I was playing it.
It is
and
a good transition.
And all of a sudden a cutscene, and then there's no sound, and I'm like, okay, that's
Oh.
weird. And then they're talking, I can see their lips moving. I'm like, what's going on? And I guess it was a bug.
Oh.
So I missed like history of Kilimanjaro. Or whatever.
Kilimanjaro?
1 out of 10.
No, the game's great.
1 out of 10 games have that bug, though. You were 1 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Well, so tell us about Shadow of War.
So I've been playing Shadow of War. It is the follow-up game to Shadow of Mordor, which is Middle-earth game. You play Talion, who is a ranger. And he kills Uruks. It was a great game when it came out, Shadow of Mordor. And the sequel is good. They improved on a lot of things that I'm happy with. You can tackle now. Like just some of the gameplay mechanics.
Just like a shoulder tackle?
Yeah, because you'll fight chiefs, and if they get fearful, sometimes they flee, and you're like, "Well, buddy, I'm just trying to murder you," and then you're just running, and then you would just have to try to grab them. But this, you can run and tackle them. It's pretty fun.
I now want to mod this game and make it like a football game.
You could.
You could mod it into Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
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 A good Blood Bowl.
Yeah. You have all the orcs.
Yeah. So it's great. I mean, it's some guy he had spiders and those pack of dogs with him. And I killed him, but his dogs killed me. And then...
Oh, the dog's your nemesis now?
No,
that's too bad, because that'd
died.
be cool. Like if they showed up but didn't say anything, they were just like, burr, 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 and then went down to chase you.
You were telling me earlier that like a level 1 Oric killed you and then started singing a song about himself or something?
A grunt.
A
Yeah.
grunt?
He was real pleased with himself. He killed me, and then he just, as I was in my death throes, he was looking me right in the eye and saying how he was a Turk killer or Turk smasher. So he's going to change his name to Turk Killer, and he's going to be known from then on forth as Turk Killer. That's right, Turk Killer. And then he went on to say it a couple more times, and then I died. And then I did a vendetta mission. So one of the changes is they really elaborated the Nemesis system, and Now there's weaknesses, immunities, which they had before, but now there's different classes and races. And
What mode are you playing?
I'm playing the story mode.
I meant
Difficulty?
Yeah.
Normal.
Okay. Because one of the modes is Nemesis mode, right?
Yes.
That sounds cool.
I thought of it,
Yeah.
but no. Because I'm pretty sure once you get further into the game, it's probably going to get more challenging, and then you pay more attention to those things.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
just given the nature of those games, I think they're... One of the complaints that I'm hearing of it is that you have to play quote-unquote poorly enough for the Nemesis system to really kick in. And it's like...
What? Play poorly enough?
because you have to die in order to really get a Nemesis going.
Oh. No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure you could probably just, bring them close to death and then not murder them and let them go free. You
Right.
can give death threats.
But wouldn't it be better
shame them.
if more of those things were happening naturally? And I guess some of the people were like, well, we should just be playing in Nemesis mode then. Make it harder. Make those guys come back and hunt you.
Well, it is what it is. I think the goal is it fun? I mean, there is a level of challenge in itself, and I'm sure it's more challenging in Nemesis mode, but I'm having fun. I know Giant Bomb was saying how, one of the ways to get epic loot is to have them kill you first and then go back and do a vendetta mission.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the only way. You can do a death threat as well. I haven't got that far, though.
You can send a death threat to somebody?
Yeah, you could do that in the first one, but it didn't really amount to anything. It just scared them.
Dear Bob the Turk Killer, I'm going to kill you.
Well, you send one
Italian.
chief.
Telling.
You send a chief to go send a death threat. You're like, I want you to go send a death threat to this one. So, the game is heavily expanded on, and I recommend it. Obviously, they have a really poor shop that is kind of stupid, but apart from that, it could be easily overlooked.
Well, you're referring to the loot boxes, right?
The loot boxes, which you can buy. There's two types of Mordor currency, I guess they're called, and one is white and one's gold. Gold costs real money, and you can use gold to buy chests that give you a guaranteed legendary Uruk or something like that. But
I mean, that's the kind of thing that you can just ignore on like mobile phone stuff. I can see it being.
it seems very akin to Metal Gear. It's more beneficial if you're playing multiplayer. It cuts time, but if you're playing single player, it doesn't really. The game, you just play through the game.
The game doesn't need it though.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
and it's embarrassing.
Right. It's the little thing you don't show people. You're like, look at this game. Don't look up there.
It's like a AAA, or it's like Google coming out and saying, "All right, we're having a fundraiser. We're doing a Kickstarter for our new." Like, get out of here! You don't need a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You're Google.
Donate
You're
money.
Stupid.
Donate money to us, and you're like, get out of here. You're doing this wrong.
You're already rich. You're
Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Stop putting these
just
games,
make good games and then leave it at that.
Yeah, stop making your game budget the same budget as like a movie.
Yeah.
Just stop doing that. Brandon, stop doing that.
Stop doing that, Brandon. So, do you have a nemesis yet? Or are you still too early in the game?
The entire,
He's
land
too
of
good at the
Mordor is my nemesis.
Mm,
Sauron is my nemesis. He's my real nemesis.
just death to everybody.
I'll be like, dude.
Now, one of the big talked about features of the game is the sieges. So, have you done
I
any
haven't
of
even
those?
gotten to that.
You haven't gotten to that yet? Okay.
Because I've been playing other games too. I've been playing Super Meat Boy, and I've been playing
The classic.
the classic. I went back. I wanted to play some old levels I never beat, but obviously I don't have my save. So I started over. I beat World 1, and I beat Dark World, World 1, and World 2, but I don't know how much I'll play it. I know they're coming out with a sequel for the Switch, which, I'm a fan of Meat Boy, Super Meat Boy. Also Shovel Knight, and I'm at the very last boss.
Oh, you never finished it?
No, I'm in the middle of fighting the boss.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
We had to come up here and podcast.
Oh, no.
Poor timing.
We're talking on your part.
I failed a couple times, so
Yeah.
hoping again.
I watched you die. I don't know how many times against Black Knight.
That was a super powered Black Knight.
That was at least 4 times you died.
Mm.
Not for that, you'd be done with this game by now.
No.
Yes.
Well, Shadow Mordor, it's going to be on my top 5, I think.
Oh, for the year?
Yeah, that and Battle Chasers.
Hmm.
I know I probably shouldn't talk about stuff like that, but also Battle Chasers, I started my New Game Plus and I did it opens up a new difficulty. I mean, apart from making the game harder, normally when you go through a dungeon, you can choose normal, hard, or legendary. Now it's either hard, legendary, or mythical. And mythical drops legendary gear.
Should drop mythical gear.
Or yeah, maybe mythical's right. Artifact gear, I should say. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
All right. Well, those are some video games.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Josh, I hear you've been playing millions of new games.
Yeah, I've played 0 new games. In the mornings, I play Mario.
Okay. So, have you finished the main story?
I'm on the last world of the main story.
Okay.
And I could probably, in the next, say, hour, beat the game. After that, it unlocks other things that I hear. And
Yes.
I have no idea what those are. So,
No.
I'm at 200 something moons.
There's
Wow,
what,
okay.
600 in the game?
I don't know.
But
that's
I
a
think
lot.
I think a lot of them actually are after the game. I think so.
There is a nod in the game, which is very nice, very neat.
To moons.
No. Why the moons?
I don't
Wait,
know.
I want to hear your thought process.
A nod to moons. Like they're giving a shout out to, celestial bodies that are satellites around planets. I don't know.
I mean, you're collecting moons, and you
Yeah.
go to the moon. So I guess, yeah. I guess you're right.
All right.
It's kind of neat when you get to the moon because that's the final stages of the moon. And you get to jump like super high. Just 0 gravity.
No such thing, but go on.
No such thing as 0 gravity.
Not technically. And on the moon, it's not 0 gravity.
All
It's
right.
Brandon
1/8
Becker.
gravity.
Brandon Becker.
Everything every mass exerts some level of gravity.
Mm-hmm. Well, if there's no mass around
Gravitational pull. Huh?
Huh?
The moon has is
Yes, I know
mass.
the moon's not
All right.
0 mass.
So
Anyway,
So Mario.
like you and I are exerting
Mario.
gravitational pull towards each other.
Yes, I
But
know.
because we're so light, our mass. Okay.
I'm aware.
Or maybe we're so heavy.
No, it's because gravity's so weak. So weak that magnets can overpower it.
This is what happens when Aaron's not on the podcast.
I know.
That's why I don't like Mario's, because it's very fake.
It's very unrealistic.
Yeah.
When Aaron's on, he just punches people in the face when they start going on tangents. So, in a way, I'm happy he's not here because
Yeah.
when he got in a fistful of face. Wait. Face full of fist.
Fistful
Full
of quarters.
face.
Fistful of quarters. It's good. And there's a painting that you can find
Mm.
where you can you're going to Yoshi's house
He's got a house?
on Mario 64.
What?
You go there, you look around, you're like, oh. But I don't think you can get to the main area. Maybe you can. Maybe that's the thing.
Do you get to
Cool.
ever ride a Yoshi?
No,
Oh.
he's not there. He's out.
He's off gallivanting.
Yeah, he said he went to the castle, and you look over, and the castle's in the distance. You're like, whoa.
He's busy. Like,
Kidding.
this is, the last Yoshi game that came out. That's where he's at. Like, in the timeline, while Mario was doing this in Mario Odyssey, Yoshi is playing his own video game on the
Yoshi's
Wii U.
Woolly World
Yeah.
with Poochie.
I don't think it's isn't there a new Yoshi game that's out?
I don't know. I thought
That's
that
the
was
last
newest
one, is the Woolly World, I think. And then there's a
Yoshi
one coming out.
doesn't want to help Mario because he's tired of Mario punching him in the head
Throwing him off cliffs.
and throwing him off cliffs.
Yeah. And riding on his back. Like, I don't think he was like, cool, hey,
Yeah,
ride on my back.
He doesn't ask to be ridden.
That being said, when he's not being ridden, he just runs around like an idiot. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I liked how in Yoshi's Island, Mario was a baby. And when Yoshi would get hit,
There's
baby
debate.
would fly away in a
make
bubble. Oh.
most obnoxious sound. The
Yeah.
baby. Yeah. That
Look,
was it.
it served its purpose.
There's debate on whether or not Baby Mario is in fact Mario, because they can, like in other games, both Mario and Baby Mario share the same time and space.
All right, guys, I'm going to tell you a secret. And it's the greatest secret ever told.
Okay.
Japan, as a whole, has a long history of not having a continuity. Like old anime, like Tenchi Muyo. There's like different versions of Tenchi Muyo that all exist at the same time, and they have nothing to do with each other. They don't, like, you can't put them together in a timeline. So like when Zelda, when they're like, there's not really a timeline, they mean it, because they're just like, there's just completely different worlds that we create that all exist simultaneously next to each other. So that's how video games work too.
Mm-hmm. It's like Myst.
Yeah, it's
If you read the Myst book, it talks about every world is a possibility. Then
Now they have no baggage. And they don't have internet nerds on Twitter being like, where's the continuity? Of course, they still do that, I guess, because they did come out with that Zelda book.
Yeah, no, they do that. They do that all the time, and it's like it's a Western thing. That's like no, there's no.
In my fanfic, it's Baby Mario.
Is what?
Baby Mario and Yoshi's Island. That's in my fanfic.
In my fanfic, Baby Mario is Baby Mario.
And that's why he doesn't really. That's all they can say is it's a me Mario, because
he was
raised
so
by
often.
Yoshi's.
Yeah. That's actually, you know what? He's a genius if he gets at least that level of continuity from a creature that just says its own name over and over again.
Because Yoshi would be like, Yoshi,
Yeah.
and like it's a me, Mario.
So is Odyssey still wonderful?
Yeah, it's still great.
Yeah.
There's nothing to hate about that game.
I'll find something. No, I can't. I was like, Zelda, I wanted to go into it to hate it because I didn't want it to be as good as it was, and then it was, and I was like, I'm mad at this game for being so good.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's. I think it's at least how 70% of the internet works.
Yeah.
So at least we have a case study that we can look at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so since there's no Aaron, I guess I'll just I'll take up his time to do it, and my time.
This is not uncommon.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak?
So I finished Wolfenstein, the new Colossus. I have come away with it with mixed feelings, I think, when it all is said and done. It has great characters, great writing, great cutscenes. The gameplay is a very mixed bag. So they just don't nail encounter design very well, because there's a lot of times where you're in like a kill room and enemies will spawn behind you and you just get wrecked. And that leads to probably my biggest complaint about the game, because that's fine. Like Doom had enemies spawn behind you. There's a lot of games where that happens. But those games are fair because they actually give you an indication of whether or not you're being shot from behind. This game, I don't know what they were thinking, but there's like no feedback when you get shot. So before you know it, you will be dead and you won't even know why.
There's no feedback at all, or there's no like showing you what direction it came from?
There's the only feedback is your health and your armor glow when you get hit.
Oh wow! So there's no screen.
No.
There's no tinting or anything.
Or it doesn't shake or anything like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
It sucks. Like it's just, I don't know why that is. Like Doom didn't like overwhelm you with that stuff. So I mean, but it still like had it there. And the two games are comparable in just the way that you're supposed to play them. Like they're not games where you hide and take cover and pop out and shoot things. They want you to run around at 1,000,000 miles an hour and just shoot stuff and circle strafe and do all that. And that's really fun. Like I like shooters that do that, because most shooters don't do that anymore. But it's not fun when you take that design and then you say, well, we're just not going to give you really any indication on where you're getting shot from and how much damage you're taking or why. Because like enemies will be standing right in front of you and they'll be shooting, and I won't even realize I'm being shot. Like it feels like they're missing, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm dead. And yeah, and some of the encounters just kind of like go on too long. Like the final encounter, which I feel like in most games, final encounter should be like the best encounter. Like if you look at like Hyrule Castle or something in Breath of the Wild, like that stuff was really cool and you built up to it and you learn all these skills and then it tests all your skills and then you have a relatively easy fight with, Ganon, but it's still really cool, all that stuff that happens. I still enjoyed it.
Unless you forget to switch your bow.
Yeah, well.
It's me.
But I mean, like a lot of games, like I feel like BioWare is really good at that. Like they build up to this moment. And this game does build up to that moment, but like I got so frustrated with the encounter that I actually just ran past it. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to run across this deck and I'm going to go through these double doors and not even worry about this last fight. And that's what I did. And I was like, I guess it's cool that they let me do that, but it kind of sucks because this is supposed to be like the culmination of like your entire adventure is to have, the big showdown. And then you just like, I'll just ignore it. And, the other thing is too, it's like this game has such an interesting premise of Nazis taking over America, and have for years. And they don't give you enough like glimpses of like what that is like. So there's like, you go to Roswell and you walk around in the streets for, 5-10 minutes. And then you go into, industrial military complex. And then it's just like metal and looks very doomy, that sort of thing. And it's like, you go to New York and it's like, it's all, blasted into nothing. But then you just spend most of your time inside things. And like all the places are like that. It's just like you just go into bunkers and you spend most of the time in bunkers instead of actually seeing how cool the world is. Because like when you're in Roswell, that looks super cool and it's very immersive, and you can see how like Americans are reacting to it and stuff like that. And you get a lot of storytelling like in BioShock Infinite. But they just don't take advantage of that. It's just like, we'll show you a glimpse. We'll give you a hint, but you'll never really get to fight in it. And now we're just going to put you into military industrial complex. And it's like, ugh. And I mean, those areas are pretty, but they get really samey after a while. And it's just kind of like, like it's a little disappointing in that sense. Because like watching that original trailer, I really thought it was going to be like BioShock Infinite, where you're actually like running around and seeing everything that's happening. But I mean, that said, there are some moments in that game that I'll probably never forget because they're so crazy. And I'm definitely not going to talk about them on the podcast, but people should, even if you have no intention of ever playing this, you should just YouTube like the cutscenes just so you can see the insanity that happens.
Like find your favorite YouTuber.
Yeah. Or just like type in Wolfenstein II crazy cutscene and see what comes up, because I guarantee you 2 of them will come up that I could think of. And I mean, all on that front, like they really deliver on the storytelling part. But a game is more than just its story. It has to have a really good game part. And it's not to say that the game part was always bad, but it was frustrating enough to where it was like, I don't feel like the ultimate like Nazi killing badass that I want to be feeling like. Instead, I feel like I'm really squishy and like 1 or 2 hits and I'm dead. And half the time I don't even realize that I'm being shot until I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, it got better when I bumped it down in difficulty. Like the game is really weird. It has 6 difficulties. And so there's like easy, medium,
overkill.
hard, but then there's easy for casual, easy for experienced, medium for casual, medium for experienced. And so I started off with medium for experienced because like I've played a lot of first person shooters. So I'm like, I can do that. And it was like, I don't know who tuned this game, but like it was parts of it were just impossible and it just wasn't fun. Like, it's just so frustrating just to get killed over and over.
Mike, we all know you're a medium casual.
I am now, I guess, because I bumped it down to medium casual and it got a lot better. But like, even still, that final encounter was just so frustrating that I was like, "I'll forget this. I'm just gonna like run." It's like getting to like in the original Doom, like up to the Spider Mastermind, and you're just like, "I'm just gonna run by it." Oh no! Now here's the dead bunny on the stake. Yay!
We all know those references.
Those games you play, Mike, are weird.
That's the ending of Doom, is a bunny's head stuck on a stake, and then
That's
there's
offensive.
a city on fire. That's it.
Not
That's
so
the,
offensive.
That's
Okay.
the ending of Doom. Spoilers.
I was gonna play Doom.
So, anyways,
Yeah, me too.
so after you finish the
Nothing
game,
more.
it unlocks these like assassination missions, but you just go back into the same environments that you were before. And I was like, I don't really feel like doing any of this. So I picked up Assassin's Creed Origins.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And I like this game a whole bunch. It speaks to me in Egyptian. It says, Mike, you like this game.
Mike, you don't speak Egyptian.
Oh, little do you know.
It actually says the opposite.
Yeah, this is Mike. This game. You don't.
You
want
are a
this.
fool for playing this game. That's what it says.
Thank you for your money. It says.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Buy some loot crates.
There's no. Wait, are there loot crates?
no, there's not.
I was gonna
But
say.
there is.
There are microtransactions, but like you don't. The thing is that all the things that you can buy in the store are just drops in the world. So it's like, oh well, if you don't want to get the drop or find the treasure, then you can just go and pay for it. But why? Why would you do that? I don't know.
Do you not want to play this game? Pay us, and you can act like you played the game.
Yeah, I mean that's what Warner Brothers
Pay us
and
more.
Ubisoft have
Pay
both
us
said
more.
about like these microtransactions. It's just like, oh, they're time savers for people who just don't have a lot of time.
I'm gonna release a AAA game, and you can pay $60 and get the game and play it, or you can pay $120. It gives you all the achievements, and you never have to turn it on.
Yeah.
That's basically what.
I'm gonna be rich.
So
Well, they don't tell you up front, though. They get you in first. They get you in that first buy. They're like, okay, now, are you sick of these? You pay a little more, and we'll just get rid of the time.
Yeah. Welcome to the
Save your time.
grind. You want to bypass the grind? $5.
Yeah.
$5 saves you 5 minutes of grind time.
This game runs 120 hours.
Dead Space 3 actually did have that. It actually did have pay us. I think it was $9 to bypass an hour of grind.
Ugh.
I never did it because it was totally pointless.
Yeah, because it's dumb.
It was dumb. Because that game was like a 12-hour game. So it's like, really? Anyways, so Assassin's Creed Origins. It really does feel like a really fresh reboot to the series, which is something that it has needed for a long time. It has solved most of my major issues with the series, mainly with its movement and how you interact with objects and buildings. So like in the old game, you had to hold down like a trigger button to run, but then the trigger button was also your to climb button. So if you're chasing after somebody and you accidentally bump into a wall, which is very easy to do because those streets are very crowded, you'll start climbing and you're like, no, I don't want to do that. And so you have to get off the wall, and then by then sometimes the guy's already had enough time to get away. So just like frustrating stuff like that. Plus the analog movement of, the previous games was never exactly great. It kind of like in The Witcher, like Geralt.
It had
That's
inertia.
kind of like an inertia, kind of like a lag to it. That was kind of annoying.
Oh, like the guy winds down his run.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like winds up and winds down, probably.
Ugh.
Yeah. And
It's terrible.
and you had to hold down a button and stuff. And, and the stealth elements in that game, they called them like social stealth. So like there was like a group of monks and you could like go in there and kind of like blend in with them and stuff. But it never really felt like super stealthy. And, I really kind of felt like they just never really gave you enough like tools or movement or anything to really do it. So just most of the time it was like, I'm just going to climb on top of this tower and then, oh, here's my target. And I'm just going to go and jump on him and stab him. Hooray.
Mhm. Hooray.
Yeah, hooray. And, I mean, that could be fun, but like it definitely was something that could be improved on. And then there's the combat, which was, it didn't use hitboxes. It was basically like hold down a button and then an enemy will essentially be sucked into you. And then it just goes into an animation where you kill them.
Like Luigi's Mansion.
Yes. You suck them into your assassin vacuum cleaner. And, I mean, Brandon has always had thoughts about the Assassin's Creed combat not being great.
The first one was okay, and then I think by the time I had come back in one of the sequels, I think it was Black Flag, I felt that they had, maybe I remember incorrectly from when I played the first one, but it seemed as though they simplified everything down to just like time consuming, collect these 150 different items on the ground. They're arbitrary, unnecessary, but they're there, so there's something to do. And then the combat is not really involved. It's just boring.
Yeah, it's mostly
automatic. Everything's automatic.
It was very passive combat, and you're right. Like this was the problem with the series. Definitely that they were really getting into the Ubisoft open world format of you have to climb the towers, and then the towers unlock the 5 billion things that you can go do, but they're all kind of the same, and it's just collecting different things, and there weren't
like trash. It's like clean up your mini map. Pick up this trash.
It was. That's exactly what it was. And it was like always annoying to me when I would go into the map and I'd see little dots everywhere, and I'm like, I don't want those dots there.
Oh, the developer should have like tagged the little sections, and you can be like, I'm cleaning up after Robinson today. I'll do all this Robinson trash.
So this Assassin's Creed does not have the 5 billion things to collect. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it has anything to collect. I haven't found anything. There's no feathers or flags or
loot
or coins or anything like that.
There's nothing wrong with collecting things, but there's definitely a limit, and you need to really mix up the gameplay, because if it's just going to a location and then picking it up, it's kind of
right, like Riddler
not
trophies.
Fun.
Riddler trophies is a great kind of collectible, and then you can just make however many you want. Each one's a challenge. Yeah, each one's different.
Yeah, that is a great example, and you're right. I don't mind collectibles but I do mind them when the only thing you get out of it is an achievement score, and there's nothing gameplay related. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of Assassin's Creed. Like, there were a few things that you could do that could, like, you could get like a wolf costume or something in Assassin's Creed 2 if you found all the tombs and did the trials. But like collecting all the flags and stuff, like that was just like, oh, here, 25 achievement points. So if you're just going for a gamer score, then that's all that is for. And it just, so this one, I don't know how much Breath of the Wild affected this game, because, Breath of the Wild isn't that old, and this game has been in development since Black Flag. So it's been in development for like 3 years, but they definitely go for a more minimalist approach. Like they don't clutter everything with little icons. And the way they do it is you kind of have a compass, sort of like in the Elder Scrolls games, and the compass kind of has like little highlights of points of interest. So they're just like little question marks, and it's like, well, I kind of want to see I kind of want to go see what that is, and sometimes it's like an enemy encampment, and there's like a treasure or like a weapon or something that's in there. So like all the little side activities I've done so far have felt worthwhile. Like I've gotten something out of them that enhanced my character's gameplay. And the combat is just like so much better. Like, oh my gosh. Like that was definitely a thing that needed to be improved, and they definitely did that. They basically like looked at Neo or Dark Souls, because the button layout and the movement and stuff is pretty much the same. Like you have your shoulder buttons, or your light and heavy, like you lock on, you have like a quick dodge, but they really sped it up. So it's not like in Dark Souls where it's kind of more lumbering and you don't have stamina. So it's just very like, oh, I'm going to get in there and and hit these guys, and it's very satisfying when you do so. And they added like a ton of weapons. So there's like sickle sword and straight swords and dual swords and scepters and maces and dual-handed maces and all sorts of stuff. 4 different kinds of bows, and they all do different things. And as you do combat, like you fill up a meter, and if you hit both of your attacks at the same time, you do like an overcharge move, and usually just like one-shots a guy or like sends you into like slow-mo, and you can just waste everybody.
I would like to see challenges in the game where it's, do this one thing with this one weapon,
Like one weird thing.
Yeah, like a challenge where it would utilize, assassinate your target, but do so with a spear.
Yeah.
Something like that.
They might have achievements to that, but so far I haven't. Yeah, I mean, who cares? But
who cares?
And they've also like way improved the stealth. So like, it's very much like Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War now, where it's like you have the tall grass and you can like hit the button and you kind of go into the crouching and you go into stealth. And the coolest thing that they've done is they've given your character a bird, like an eagle.
They give him the bird?
They give him the bird. And you send the eagle out and he can spot. He's basically like a recon drone or something, and he can like show you where all the enemies are. And so you can like plot out your course of action against these compounds. So it's really like they just got like a bunch of ideas from other games, because there's things like Metal Gear Solid 5 with like the compounds and how you can kind of go at them in any way. It's got like the combat from like Dark Souls. You can climb on anything now. Any surface is climbable. So just like in Breath of the Wild. And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm wondering how much Breath of the Wild kind of changed their design.
So literally any wall.
Yeah. So and you climb super fast now too. And so like there was a marble pillar and it didn't seem like something I could climb on, and I just ran up all the way to the top of it. And it's like, nice. And any mountain, any hillside, rock face, yeah, you can climb on all of it.
Good. That's what those games should have.
Yeah. And it makes it so much better because you can just get around everything so much faster. So yeah, I mean, it definitely does some Breath of the Wild things of like keeping the map kind of more up for exploration and discovery, and being able to climb on everything, which is super awesome. And all games that are of this nature should just start doing that. The story so far is pretty good. So, I was worried about the main character because Assassin's Creed, you either have like a dillweed, like the guy from the first one, or you have like Ezio, who's like awesome. You usually don't have in between, but this guy I think is awesome. I like him so far. He's a pretty well written character, and I'm very interested in the story. They really nailed the world of ancient Egypt. Like, it's so immersive.
Brings you back.
It brings me back. Yeah, man. When I was there, it's just like being there. No, but they like, this is they obviously were fans of The Witcher, because the way the world is built and presented to you is very Witcher 3-esque. And it's just really cool just to see how much work and craftsmanship went into constructing this world.
Well, I'm glad when other games, especially AAA games, take note of what's successful and what people like in other games, and they incorporate it. They're like, all right, well, it's not working what we're doing. Let's change it up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a game that had come out that did that was bad, but then they made it good by looking at what other games did well. I'm trying to think. Anything?
I mean,
anything come to mind?
I mean, I guess you could say Breath of the Wild in a way, although it doesn't really. It just in the sense that was like, hey, people want to open up and get away from the formulaic Zelda, gameplay. But of course, they really went in their own direction. Like, I wouldn't say like anything in Assassin's Creed is nearly as original as Breath of the Wild, but they definitely take good parts of other open world games and put it in this.
Neo. Maybe I'm thinking of Neo, because when that came out, I'm like, oh, it's a game and it has loot. It did all these things that I think, what was it? Spiritual predecessor was Ninja Gaiden, or
Well, I mean, it's a Dark Souls, right?
yeah,
It does some things that I like
But-
over Dark Souls.
yeah, it seemed to incorporate a lot of different
Yeah,
games and combine them together. A chimera
and it was good.
of sorts.
Like Shovel Knight, where they took the best parts of DuckTales and Mega Man and put them together.
Yeah.
It does have a pogo stick thing.
Yep.
I want to play The Mummy Demastered. I do.
The Mummy Demaster. Oh yeah, no,
Mhm.
I heard that one.
Last time I played a game like that based on a movie was, I think, Judge Dredd. It was a side scroll. I'm like, this game's
Oh.
pretty cool. Or Alien 3. That one was interesting too.
Right. For the old
Yeah.
Sega Genesis. Yeah.
Yeah. I am the law.
No, actually, I heard Mummy is good. So it's one of those cases where it's a good game that came out of a bad movie.
Mm.
So, anyways, yeah. So that's Assassin's Creed Origins. I'll probably have more to say. I'm just really having a lot of fun, just like walking around and just getting lost in the world that they created.
I'm curious where they go from here.
I think they're gonna do kind of an Assassin's Creed 2 thing where it's gonna be a trilogy with this character.
Okay.
So the next one will be
Origins Part 2.
Yeah, basically. So-
Preludes at this point.
but
It'd
it's
be like a
Origins, Preludes, denouement.
but it's definitely as like somebody who got really burned out on the series around Assassin's Creed 3. This is like a really good one to go back to because it's just so different. Like it's definitely the refresh that the series needed.
It's definitely the cat's meow.
Yes.
It's the camel's
Back.
meow. Or back, yeah.
Yeah. I had a camel, then I sold him.
Mm.
Now I have a horse who was from a previous owner, and the owner died, and the horse stayed with the man's corpse for 2 whole days. He's a
Wow.
loyal friend, this horse, and now he's mine.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
it is. Yeah, all the unique animals have backstories when you buy them.
This horse was lame when it was reared.
Anyways,
This horse owes the mafia $50,000.
This has been paying off its debt day by day. By leading people to water.
And then the mafia shows
Yeah.
up.
No. You know how you lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink? Well, a horse is leading people to water, making it drink.
How's he making money on that?
I don't know. I was just trying to make a pun.
all right. I saw 2 leopards fight a crocodile.
Did the leopards win?
They did.
This is very unrealistic.
And then they tried to kill me, so I killed them. So
Were there any
none of them.
lepers involved?
I have
Should-
not found any actual lepers.
That's
No.
too bad.
There might be a leopard district somewhere. But
It's
who
not
knows?
ancient Egypt if there isn't a
I know.
leopard colony.
I know.
Were there lepers?
No,
in
I don't
Egypt?
think so.
Well, yeah, leprosy was a thing. I mean,
Was it though?
I mean, that's where, they became mummies as lepers.
Yeah, mummies are lepers. They don't
Lepers,
tell you
mummies,
that
same
in history
thing.
books. Yeah, they were lepers who learned how to cure themselves by bandaging themselves up. But it backfires, and then they got entombed while they were still alive.
They got their brains sucked out through their nose.
No, that's a myth. That's leprosy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Josh, where can they find us?
GameRushmore.onsouthernroad.com for our podcast, at Game Rushmore on Twitter, GameRushmore@gmail.com for any questions or comments, On Southern Road on Facebook, and YouTube.com/On Southern Road for our YouTube channel. On the site, you can find Laser Ramon, where Aaron does reviews.
Yeah.
Ranger.
I watched his Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite review, and it was very good.
And he had some notes, and he said, I do not agree with your review, and I think it should have gotten a 0. That's what Mike said. I was talking to him. And
Mike Clement?
yeah, he thought it should have gotten a 0. I forgot the game's name.
Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Marvel
Yeah.
versus Capcom.
Yeah.
And Aaron disagreed. So
All right.
You thought it should have gotten a 0?
I'm lying.
Yeah,
I'm lying.
apparently.
This is all lies. I am a liar.
Because the 0's, wow.
I haven't really played it to know what score I would give it.
Can something get a 0? That's beyond me. I know ones,
I think
but a 0 would be.
a 0 would be something that was completely busted and like crashed your computer or something if you tried to start it.
That would be a 1.
I'm gonna say actually, Aaron doesn't give number scores.
Yeah,
to
it's
his
just
reviews.
recommended. Or
I think a 0 would be a 1 game, but with loot boxes that you paid for.
any game with loot boxes is a 0.
Well, it knocks it down a point.
Man, so it's like Big Rigs with loot boxes. Big Rigs, the most busted game ever. All right, later.
Peace.